Welcome to another edition of Not Just Another Sports Show. I am your host, KD. And yes, right before we went on air, we switched sides. I was trying to see if a lot of those Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans want to switch sides and come on over to the NFC East. But we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. But before I go any further, this is Not Just Another Sports Show. That also stands for No Jazz, or No Jazz, which also stands for Not Just Another Sports Show. And make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow us on X. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Instagram is noj.a.s.s. And of course, X and Facebook page is No Jazz Show. Now, without further ado, and giving all those shameless plugs that I do prior to each show, I need to introduce my co-host, the one and only, Tank. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Tank. I got to go away for 2 seconds, but introduce yourself to the people, Tank. Tell the people hello.
Hey, hello, everybody. How y'all doing? I hope y'all are doing better than I was doing Saturday. But, hey, my Steelers took it on the chin, but, hey, we're going to see what we got going on this following week. Got a lot of good games that happened. We're going to discuss those. Also, a couple other things, but, hey, KD, he's a Cowboys fan, so he's been in mourning for probably about 6 or 7 weeks.
I caught that. and just like I tell a lot of people in regards to that. Well, yeah, we kind of knew we were out, but do you want me to let you borrow a trash bag too, so you can clean out your locker? Because I really want to know the difference between cleaning out your locker the first week of the playoffs and cleaning out your locker week 18 of the regular season. Like what's the difference? But
it's an extra check.
I guess it is an extra check. Now, it has been a very crazy and exciting, I'm going to say, week and a half in sports that we were going to run down a whole lot of that. But a lot of you just finished your weekend of sports watching the Los Angeles Rams defeat the Minnesota Vikings to move on to the next round of the playoffs, where I believe the Rams will be facing the Philadelphia Eagles in the next round. And that ought to be an interesting one. And we're going to get to that. And before I move any further, good moral victory for the LA Rams, with the city of Los Angeles going through what it's going through. We wish the city well. We wish them the very best as they go through this very tough time as far as their city is concerned. Now, before we get into a whole lot of action that's been going on in the NFL, let's go to the NFL's little brother, and that's the CFP, college football playoffs, where we have determined our national championship game, which will be Ohio State versus Notre Dame.
You got to say the Ohio State.
I'm gonna tell you something. I have not said the Ohio State since that bad pass in 2000, that bad call in 2001. But
oh Lord, man, I'm telling you, y'all got to get over, man. Y'all need therapy, man.
It's 20-something years, hasn't it?
Yeah, y'all as bad as the dang Raiders fans who are still whining about the Immaculate Reception.
The D in that is definitely the worst call. Nevertheless, Ohio State, as consistent as they are, even back in the days, have found themselves in the national championship game. And I should say final. It is the national championship game, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Again, and they have come back representing the Big Ten, Notre Dame. And this makes Tank very proud. found its old glory. And I'm very proud of Notre Dame and their alumni, for what they have where that's concerned. Now, I will say this. Let me take these down because I can hear without them. I will say this. What do you think about that matchup? Let's start right there before I get into Marcus Freeman. What do you think about that matchup?
I like it. It's traditional. I know we said last show. I said that that's who I was picking to go, and that's the one that I wanted to see. And you said, "No, this feels like just Big Ten to me." But I think it's a great matchup. It's traditional. It wakes up the echoes. There's a whole lot of history between both teams, and there's a lot of history for both teams in general. And it's two teams that for the Big Ten and for up north, everyone that you love one of them or the other. Generally, of course, you got Michigan and some other teams, but those are two teams that have storied past. From the coaches, you got Eric Parsegian, you got Lou Holtz, you got Newt Rockney, you got Danny Devine. Then you got Earl Cooper, you got what's his name, the old dirty one, from Youngstown State who came. I can't remember his name. Trussell. You got Trussell.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got
Earl.
You got Earl Bruce. You got some storied names, and you got two teams that have national championships already.
Is it about history with you that you like that whole?
Yeah, I like the history of it, and I'm also glad to see those two teams, and they're similar. They're similar. We are going to see some big plays. We're going to see a lot of hard hitting. We're going to see some power ball, and I think it's going to be one of those last man standing. I think if it's a slugfest, Notre Dame wins. Ohio State is clicking on all cylinders and they start off fast, it could get ugly. I just like seeing those two traditional uniforms, those two traditional teams out there. It's great. I know people who don't like Notre Dame for whatever reason, they hate it, and the people who aren't Ohio State fans are gonna hate it. But I think it's gonna be a great game. So yeah, I'm excited about the matchup, and hopefully Notre Dame can avenge what happened when they played Bama when they played the national championship a while back.
Yeah, they got blown out. And that's the thing. Like, I know you're speaking on history, but they are not out of the loop in the past, 15, 20 years. They've always found themselves there,
Yeah.
and it's because they're more or less, which is probably why I thought Penn State would make it in. They're more or less one of those still traditional college schools where, the kids are pretty much going to stay until they're juniors, at least. They don't have people who leave early. You go to Notre Dame, as I stated before, to go to Notre Dame, and playing football is the option. Now, I will say this, it's traditional in the sense to me, and I do agree with you because it's college. Both schools produce great college players. I don't expect them to do anything in the NFL, but they do have some great college players. And that's not saying that they haven't had guys that have produced in the NFL. It's just when you think of their glory, it's going to be those college players. Like their greatest players probably didn't move on to the NFL to do anything spectacular in the league. But
Ohio State has put out
that are like,
yeah. Ohio State
fantastic.
has put out quite a few guys who've done something in the NFL. And Notre Dame, they haven't. Most of Notre Dame's players, if they're drafted, are like lower round picks. But we got names in the NFL.
You got Zeke, Santonio Holmes.
Yeah, Zeke. Now you've got Houston's quarterback Stroud, who's making a name for himself.
CJ.
Yeah. And you got all you got a plethora of wide receivers who come out of Ohio State as of late.
But they've always had that. I'll give
Yeah,
them. They've
yeah,
always had that, and CJ has kind of changed the outlook on what quarterbacks have done. Now,
yeah.
I will give them their receivers, but he has kind of changed the outlook on Ohio State quarterbacks.
Well, I would say right now he's still the exception. But we'll see if the next guy what he's able to do. But I mean,
Will
right
Howard?
now, yeah, we'll see what he's able to do. But right now,
You think he's a good NFL prospect?
no. But that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
See,
okay,
you
okay.
said he changed the narrative. I'm saying that CJ is the exception right now because we can pull down all these great college quarterbacks from Ohio State who done, as they used to say, because when they got to the NFL.
When they got to the league.
Yeah.
Well, what did CJ? Did CJ win a national championship or a play?
No, they
That
didn't.
might be
They
the
didn't win.
formula. Because I don't think Santonio had anything past bowl years. I don't think Zeke did anything national championship wise. So that might be the formula, not to be on one of those great college teams they have.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's going. I think. Well, go ahead. Then I tell you my thoughts on why I think Notre Dame has an opportunity to regain a chokehold on NCAA
Well,
on college football.
I will say this: congratulations, because I'm not one of these types of people, but I know it's a story because even he did it, and I like the way he put it. He doesn't want to put, it's historical, and me being a man of color and African American, we always tend to first everything when it's the first, and him being the first African American coach to be in the national championship game, head coach. And he kind of said, no, he don't want to put anything above the team. I thought that was very honorable of him, with the understanding that his platform being Notre Dame head coach kind of, way before that. But it's definitely a historical moment. And I will give him that. I wanted to just point that out to Marcus Freeman.
Yeah.
Now, Notre Dame is an independent school, and they have banked independent football.
Yeah.
They are in the ACC and all their other sports, and they are banking plenty
$20 million
off of them, and they keep their independent contracts, television, and everything for football. So I do see this as, in this NIL world, and they've always, even regardless of that, still fielded some great athletes. So as I said before, I think they'll be one of those schools in a field, a 12 team field. You will always see them somewhere in the top 4 at least every 2 or 3 years. It might not back to back or anything like that, but I think they keep enough students, and they've always kept athletes. It's just who they are. And then Marcus Freeman just looks like he's that young coach that could keep them going. Now, the thing about Mr. Marcus Freeman is being that young coach and being in tune with those kids. The next level sees that, and if they pull him, they can pull some consistency away. But I do see them doing, a lot of great things in the future every 2 or 3 years.
I don't think Freeman's gonna leave. I mean, because for him, this is his 3rd year, and I'm sure he's saying, "Look, I just got here. Why y'all trying? For anyone who's why y'all thinking or trying to rush me out? I'm here. I like being here. I'm trying to win a national championship, and I'm sure he got a huge buyout clause, and I'm sure Notre Dame, especially if they win Monday, Notre Dame will say, okay, you got we're paying you $9 million a year, but we're gonna change that. We're gonna up the ante to 13. We're gonna put you as one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid coach, because we're Notre Dame and we can do that, and they can do that because they don't have to split any of their bowl money or the national championship money
with a conference.
because they're independent. And I believe this is a new era for Notre Dame football, not just because Freeman is proven to be a heck of a coach, but because it is NIL. To not Chip Kelly left because he said you can't win a national championship at Notre Dame because of academic standards and this, that, and other than the fact that he just wasn't good enough to get it done. Freeman is there. They had those academic standards. I don't believe they've been lowered. But now, because of the NIL collective, because that Notre Dame has as much or more money than arguably possibly any schools, with the exception of probably the Texas schools, and they can recruit. Notre Dame has always been able to recruit nationwide.
When did Chip Kelly say that?
When he left and went to where is he now? Is he at LSU?
Let me see.
I don't know why I won't say Arkansas, but when he left Notre Dame, Chip Kelly, Brian Kelly,
this year
they were 5th or 6th seed, I believe.
Yeah, they were 6th seed. So that's so when Chip Kelly said that they were outside of the 4. You see what I mean? So Chip Kelly is actually right. And
no, but because they could have gotten in if he had fielded the team and gotten them to win, because they played for national championship before when they played Bama. So him saying that you can't win one with them really doesn't hold water, because other people have taken them to a title game. My thing is with this NIL money now, because all colleges are doing now is saying, look, we got NIL money. We give you this much. This college can give you this much. Our boosters or these businessmen can give you this much for you to come here. And once you leave Notre Dame, whether you make it to the NFL or not, the fact that you went to Notre Dame, you can write your own ticket. We take care of our own. So I think you're going to see a lot of guys who probably wouldn't have gone before coming to Notre Dame now, especially now. Hey, we played the national championship. They win it. Hey, we just won a national championship. Don't you want to come and be a part of this? And you show them the legacy of Heisman Trophy winners,
you don't
the
think
legacy of everyone.
Notre Dame will get. I mean, Notre Dame will get no recruits anyway.
No, but now guys will come there because now, think about it. These kids hadn't grown up seeing Notre Dame win championships. The last championship was in '88. That's what, and all those years after, they had a hard time recruiting the top players who could play on Sundays, because what the offense and defense you're running, particularly the offense, and you aren't even playing in national championships. Why do I want to go there? Now,
who was the last Notre Dame player that did good on Sunday?
Huh?
Who was the last Notre Dame player that did good on Sunday? Tim Brown?
No, it has been
Jalen Smith, maybe.
I know there's another, but no, they have producing stars.
You got Bettis. You got Jerome Bettis since then.
Yeah.
Since Tim.
But that was back then. But yeah, but see, that's what I mean. They haven't had those guys. Now they can recruit and get those guys to come because they're running a different offense. They've always been on TV, but now, hey, we're playing for national championships. Come here. And the echoes are wait. I mean, they've got the chance to have a stranglehold on college football again, because it's the Golden Dome. Yeah, that I just they don't have to worry. They're gonna get an outside bid into the into the playoffs
because
every year.
Notre Dame because they're Notre Dame and
Yeah,
they've always been given that honor. A stranglehold, more recruits. I don't know, because it's just going to be what it is. Yeah, it's just it's going to it's going to be cyclical. The best team money could buy is going to win.
yeah, and they
And
have the money to do that.
and then your other team is going to win. And then your team that has the best quarterback and the most experience is going to win. And it's just going to come back around. I think the way college football is now, it's just going to cycle, because even Notre Dame, with being able to recruit the way they are, and I'm not saying you're wrong about that, it's still going to go through peaks and valleys.
Yeah,
And just like any other team does, you know what I mean? Like, another team is just going to be more prepared than them as the season progresses, and then they're going to be ready that next year. Marcus Freeman, I wasn't necessarily talking about this year when he's hot, but in the next 2 years, if he remains hot,
yeah,
he may have proven his point to himself by the end, and looks at his options, even at another school, because there's a reason Chip Kelly said that about his limitations. There's something limited in what he seeks to get and what he can get, because even if you can get that recruit because of the money, the academics at Notre Dame will not change for anyone. So it's still going to be a limit to what you can get. Now, coincidentally, Chip Kelly is the offensive coordinator for Ohio State,
yeah.
quarterbacks coach. So he gets to face his old team come
Now,
Monday night.
yeah. Now we see Marcus Freeman. His arrow is pointing up, regardless of if they win or lose. But if they win, world is oyster. If they
Yeah,
lose, even if it's a blowout, I don't think any luster comes off. Now, on the other hand, if they loses for Ohio State, are they going to say, look, you can't beat Michigan, you lose a national championship, we think your time is up,
oh, you
or
mean
you on
Ryan Day?
thin ice? Yeah, Ryan Day, yeah. Or, buddy, you on thin ice if you don't get it done next year.
Hold
Because,
that thought for a second. Hold that thought for a second, because there's something I want to bring up, and we're going to get to it. But I want you to put that on a post-it note in your mind. The dynamics of what a black coach gets, what a white coach gets. College and NFL. Like,
yeah,
the stepping stone. What do you need to provide with us with in order to keep your job? Now, they're going to get to that, but I kind of want you to stay where you are with that, because of the changes in the coaching that has went on with that. But go ahead and finish your point. But I kind of want you to keep that point in your mind.
yeah, I think that Ryan Day is in a position where he has to win. Otherwise, I believe he'll get called to the carpet, because one, you keep losing to Michigan. Harbaugh is gone. The Michigan team is nowhere near what it's been the past few years, and you still couldn't win. Now you've rebounded and gotten to a national championship, and if you lose that, it's like, okay, you lost. For them, it'll be as though you lost 2 championships in 1 year. You lost against our rival, and now you lost the national championship against, as what
You mean
they would look at.
Big Ten championship?
Yeah, yeah, no, losing to Michigan is
Oh,
what
okay,
they
okay, okay.
they put it. They put it.
You're saying that as
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. And now you lose to. I'm sure the way they look at it, an inferior and upstart Notre Dame team. You aren't the man for the job. You can't get it done. I believe that he would. I believe they will call him to the carpet, and if he might be gone or he might get one more year, and if he doesn't get get the whole thing done, he'd be up out of there. And it's crazy that that's the way these things work in college. But you just cannot lose to your rival. You can't, and you definitely can't do it repeatedly. And I think that will lose if he wins tonight. I mean, if he wins next week, that'll wash away a whole lot of his sins. But if he doesn't, I think there's a target on his back.
So old school football compared to new school football, you don't think making it to a national championship game offsets losing a regular season game to Michigan?
Not if he doesn't win.
Just making it, not winning it, just making it.
Because you lost to Michigan, then now you got our hopes back up, and now you go and lose to those guys. You can't get it done. You choked in you choked in the two biggest games of the year. We didn't have that problem with Harbaugh. I think that's the way they look at it.
Harbaugh wasn't your coach.
Well, not Harbaugh. They would look at it as, you couldn't get it done against Harbaugh. Now you can't get it done. You got your chance to do it without Harbaugh being in Michigan, and you lost, and you lost the national championship. Those two losses that they aren't going to get over. It's going to be hard to get over, because if you win the national championship, it'll wipe off some of that stink from losing to Michigan.
Ohio State beat Penn State to make it to the championship. Ohio State beat Texas.
They beat Texas.
That's what I thought. Ohio State beat the biggest, probably, NIL money grab. That's one. And they beat an SEC team that's just coming off being a Big 12 team. One of the main Big 12 teams. And you think the Ohio State people will hold Thanksgiving weekend against him?
Yes, if they lose to Notre Dame, because
you'll be upset, but you made it to the national championship game. You think they'll?
You still have to beat your rival.
Where are you? Like where are you deciphering this from? Like the old school or like now?
No.
All your food delivery needs. Make sure you go to Light Snack. That's LYTE snack.com. And make sure for all your deliveries, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you visit Light Snack and they'll deliver it right to your door. And make sure when you get those deliveries, make sure you're ordering those Magic City wings. And remember, their motto, don't forget to lick the sauce. Personally, man, that's just a lot to ask of a man who made it to the national championship game, and you're still going to reprimand him for not beating your rival in November. I'm just saying, that's a lot.
Yeah, but in order to make it a little less, he needs to win Monday night. Because if he loses, not only did you lose to your rival again in a down year for your rival, but you also lost the national championship. And I think that's going to get the boosters riled up and the fan base riled up as far as, hey, maybe he's not the guy for the job. So he's got to win this national championship in order to hush the noise song.
Absolutely. I definitely understand, because only certain programs carry that type of weight, kind of like NFL coaching carries that type of weight. And speaking of NFL, let's move on along to the NFL playoffs. And I do want to begin here because I know you take this one personally, because there's a question that I'm going to ask behind this one due to his tenure. But let's begin with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, which ended up being a wild card game, third time meeting this season due to the fact that it is a division rival. And Lamar and Derek prevailed astoundingly, 28-14. And the soundbite after the game with Pickens, and I personally believe the young man probably didn't even know what optimistic mean, but When he was asked if he was optimistic about the future, from where he had been since his rookie year, he said he wasn't optimistic. So hoping that he just was confused about the word optimistic, but if he wasn't, he really doesn't see anything with either of the quarterbacks that he has. He's definitely a little distraught about maybe his own future with Pittsburgh, but let's take it from the Pittsburgh Steelers expert in regards to that game and that outcome Saturday between Baltimore and the Steelers.
Bear with me because I'm still in mourning. And the reason is it's not because I thought, oh, we're a whole lot better than the Ravens, so we definitely gonna win. I wanted us to win. I was hoping we would win, and I expected that if we played up to our potential, that it would be a 3 or 4 point game. There will be similar point wise to the first game this year. Let me first hit, just make sure you quoted Pickens, and Pickens, he didn't say no, we got to get it right. He said nah. So let's get it right. But yeah, that game, the game was worse than the score. I mean, and I was looking at it. I was looking at just the score itself afterwards. And I was thinking, because when your team loses and when you get dragged, you just start thinking way out there. And I said, we only lost by 2 scores. So it's not like they scored a whole lot more than us. It was 2 scores. But the fact that football, a touchdown is 6 points, so 14 points feels like a lot. But if it was, and it is, but just the scoring. But if it was baseball, and you got beat by 14, then you really look like you got to, but just the scoring, the way football is, it makes it look like even worse when it was 2 scores. And it was horrible. I'm not trying to, but when you get dragged like that, your mind just goes out there, and you got to come up with some way to rationalize, say, hey, I didn't get beat as bad as I got beat. But
right.
Lamar
do you want to go to the scorecard?
it ain't no sense in looking.
Okay.
The Steelers, I'm gonna talk about the Steelers, and I'm not taking a thing away from what Baltimore did, because Baltimore beat them. Period. Nothing else about it. And I'm not one of those where it's about what we didn't do, which is why Baltimore won. No, Baltimore beat us. They beat us in every phase of the game. The only time we actually beat them was 3/4 of the third quarter, when we scored those 14 points. Well, we were down 21-0 already. Anytime a team runs the ball 13 in a row for a drive and scores a touchdown, that's demoralizing. That's getting punched in the damn throat. That's what you call smash mouth. I mean, the game plan was horrible. Mike Tomlin needs to fire Austin. He does not need to be a defensive coordinator. He doesn't need to be in the NFL. The game plan for the defense, which is, okay, we're gonna stop Derrick Henry. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stop Derrick Henry. He's not gonna beat us, but we're willing to let Lamar run. What kind of freaking logic is that? It's not like he's an occasional threat to run. 10 call runs, and they were all productive. Not only that, your game plan was flawed anyway, and you still didn't stop Derrick Henry. He still almost put up 200 on you. So why don't you make a damn adjustment? Why would you even come up with that? We're going to let one guy beat us instead of the other guy. No, how about you stop both of them? Stop the run and contain Lamar. Keep him, make him have to beat you with his arm.
499 yard rushing to 29. That's a lot further away than 28-14.
Yeah, it is. It was a shellacking. The stats say that they beat us by 50, because that's how bad it was. It was brutal. Well, my thing is, and you learn this in high school, fundamental. Why couldn't Austin's dumb behind say, look, we run the 3-4. If we were running the 4-3, he would be optioning and pitching off of the end. Since we run in the 3-4, Highsmith and Watt, that's who he's reading off of. Lamar's reading off of you. You go after Lamar. Go after Lamar. And the inside backers who didn't show up and do a damn thing, you got the pitch man. Nobody got Lamar, and nobody got the pitch man. That's why they had 300 yards rushing. It was terrible. Porter, penalties again. I mean, they didn't have their best receiver. And so Mark Andrews is going to be dragging across the middle like he does every week. And none of our linebackers. Queen is horrible. He didn't cover anybody. All the inside linebackers, they didn't cover
Queen
anybody.
used to be a Raven,
They
right?
chased.
Queen used to be a Raven, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and you see why they didn't keep him.
Y'all had him.
They got Roquan. This is what they remind me of. Roquan, and I'm not saying he's the same caliber player, but Roquan did what Ray Lewis was doing for them those years. And remember, the Falcons got Ed Hartwell because they're like, oh, he puts up, he does this, he's a good player, we're going to get him. And he's going to, Hartwell did Bupkis. We got Queen, and he came to us and did Bupkis. You found out that he wasn't even Rob. He was the one of the twins monkey. You remember the little monkey the one of the twins had, who didn't have no power and didn't do nothing? That was him. That was Queen. And Orlando Roberts, he didn't do anything. I mean, it was terrible, man. The defense was pathetic. T.J. Watt had no stats. I saw T.J. tackle Derrick Henry multiple times. The only problem was Henry didn't have the damn ball.
Those are some great play fakes. Those are some great
Lamar was running around. Still, you can't do that. But not only that, he's going out there. Okay, the inside backer is supposed to be coming up. Where was he? Where were they? It was terrible, man. There was nothing. They looked like they never played football before. And the first half, they were just walking around with their fingers up their butt because nobody had any emotion, no nothing. First play of the game, fire one out of Fry move. He drops it. A ball to hit him right in his freaking hands, and he drops it. The next play, this is it. This goes my next point. Who else needs to be fired? Arthur Smith. The second play of the game, you call a damn flea flicker. Flea flicker wasn't intercepted. It wasn't dropped. It was just you couldn't even flick the flea because nobody was open. I mean, it was terrible. The game plan was terrible, and Tomlin has to be held accountable for that as well because he had to okay that foolishness. I mean, I don't know what the game plan was. Wilson came around in the third quarter, and they played like they were trying to get back in the third quarter, and all of a sudden, it's like they say, "Man, we ain't gonna be able to come back," and they got the snot beat out of them. That's something that you rarely, if ever, since the 70s have seen happen to Pittsburgh. They got beat. They got beat like that little bad kid that had a silver teeth in his mouth. That's how bad that they got beat. It was pathetic, man. I mean, hats off to the Ravens. There's nothing. The only thing the Ravens could have done better, and they probably would have if Flowers had been playing, they could have had more yards passing. That's probably the saving grace because Lamar probably would have had about 3 or 4 touchdowns passing. They look good. I mean, he played like it was the regular season because Lamar had a history of not playing well in the playoffs. He played like this was a regular season game. And I say that to say he played very well, and they're going to be hard to beat. They will be hard to beat if they're clicking like that, especially if the receiver, if Zay Flowers comes back. Pittsburgh, on the other hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pissed.
Okay. But here's my question. I was there with him weeks ago. but enough about them. They don't even matter. We need to talk about this though. Traditional winning teams, traditional winning football, teams that have foundations of and have created foundations since yesteryear of regular season is just not enough. Conference championships may win you some fanfare, but you're a Super Bowl. You're one of the 3, maybe 4 teams in the NFL where it's, regardless of however many years it is, it's when is our next Super Bowl. And you have a coach who is now currently 8-11 or 8-12 now.
10.
Or 8-11 now then. In playoffs. Do you maintain Mike Tomlin? Like at some point, hasn't had a winning season or hasn't had a losing season ever, kind of gets a little old. It gets a little mediocre. That's a great thing in Jacksonville. That's a great thing in Carolina. That might even be a great thing in Tampa Bay. That's a great thing in Cleveland. That's a great thing in Houston. It's a great thing in Los Angeles, either Los Angeles team. That's a great thing in Seattle. When it starts to become mediocrity, because let's be real. This is nothing against Coach Mike T. A non-losing season is winning 9 games. Let's start right there. Who made it to the playoffs at 9-8?
Nobody.
So you're saying 9-8?
Well, Tampa did, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, because the NFC South was just It's always like
not
one
in the
division that
AFC.
allows. So it's always and then when you're 9-8, you have to win the division and offset. Because it's gonna be coming up in my latter question in the segment. You have to offset that with what Todd Bowles offset that with. He at least got his own home playoff game to bank off of. So at some point, we're kind of seeing, this is who Mike T is. You haven't had any of that success since Ben, and how long has it been since Ben has been gone?
4 years. Yeah, 4 years.
4 years. So now you're closing in on you can't develop quarterbacks because you had a young quarterback. Haskins passed, so we don't know what would have happened with that. You got Herbert, then you fell back and played a Gruden move and said, let me go veteran. And we're seeing what these veterans really are after 6 games. You can't really depend on their bodies the way you think you can. So you're playing this game. There's certain franchises you just can't play this game with. And do you think it's time for Mike T? And this is not saying he can't coach in the NFL. I'm just saying the scenery. Do you think it's time for him to change the scenery? Or Pittsburgh to allow him to change the scenery? Because he's seeming to be getting his Andy Reid in Philadelphia, Tony Dungy in Tampa mold in. Like, it's kind of like, if I can just refresh myself, you'll see what I'm really capable of, because my time here has passed. Do you think it's time for the is it still the Roonies?
I can see why you would go that way, because it starts to get to diminishing returns. Oh, we won 9 games, we won 10 games. Then right now, a playoff win.
12-game season in there,
Yeah. Right now, a playoff win would be okay. We're trending in the right direction. But there's been some things that's happened that they haven't recovered from. and I'm going to go back some years. Stay with me. One, when we lost Munchak as our offensive line coach, when we had one of the best offensive lines in the league, and we haven't been able to get that back, regardless of who's been coaching the offensive line. That's hurt us. Ryan Shazier, who manned the middle and was a great inside backer for us, with his tackling, with his coverage, with his speed. When he got, got paralyzed on the field,
Right.
that hurt. We got Devin Bush to pick up that slack, and he looked like he was on that trajectory after his rookie season. After that, he gets hurt, and he comes back, and the next 2-3 years, he looks like he didn't want to play football. He couldn't play football. He was horrible. So we've been trying to fill that void. And quarterback, Haskins was a reclamation project. We were going to hopefully see if he was able to develop, but unfortunately, he expired. Rest in peace. And I don't know if he would have or would not have made it, but so he's tried to develop.
You all draft the quarterback out of Pitt too, right?
Yeah, that was my next.
Okay.
We drafted Rudolph, and Rudolph, as good as he was in college, it didn't translate in the pros.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everybody's on us. Hey, you need a quarterback. You got to get a franchise quarterback. We ended up overdrafting Pickett because he was the best quarterback in that year's draft and the only one who went in the first round. Comes to find out, he can't play dead in a horror movie. So we move on. Fields, another reclamation project. Everyone knows he can run. When it gets down to passing with accuracy, I don't know if the jury is out or if the jury has returned and said, no, he can't do it. He's tried to develop quarterbacks. He tried to get quarterbacks, but just for whatever reason, nothing's panned out. And then he needs to do a better job of picking his assistant coaches and picking his coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators. Also, the Steelers, they can't continue to do business the way they've done as far as free agency and the way they structure contracts where your first year is guaranteed and the rest of the contract isn't, even though it's a big contract. And generally, you're going to stay there through the life of the contract. But guys want to know, okay, I got this guaranteed money, but hey, am I going to be here? That was the problem with AB. AB was like, I don't have any more guaranteed money. And there was Bill also, all this guaranteed money the first year, but nothing else is guaranteed, even though the history shows, hey, they aren't going to get rid of you after 1 or 2 years, after signing you to a new contract. But Khan did it last year. You can't go shopping for groceries at Dollar Tree and think that it's going to be good and nutritious especially when you got Whole Foods across the street where you could spend your money and get quality product. That's what they do in free agency. They don't get the best available player at a position of need. They get a dude who was all right and plug him in like he's going to be the answer. Patrick Queen. Get the best available inside backer out there and pay him. Don't get a guy who was, he's pretty good playing next to Roquan. Get somebody, and other guys who they got to do better. They got to be willing to pay the money. You got revenue sharing, so you're not strapped for cash. Don't try to bargain basement shop. To be honest, I wanted Wilson to win the starting job. I was glad he was a starter, and I thought that he was going to do pretty good, which he was. But at the same time, you get what you pay for. You paying what, $3 million for both quarterbacks. What do you get? What do you really expect?
So,
oh yeah, to answer your question, I don't think it's time for Tomlin to go. Plus, he just signed a 3-year extension, so this is his first year. But I do think a conversation needs to be had. Hey, we're going out and we're getting a real quarterback.
And you have to trade. You have to trade Mike T.
And he's got a no trade clause.
Right.
So my thing is, tell him, look, Mike, you know there's an issue, and we know there's an issue. We're going to give you everything that you need that we can get via the draft and free agency. We're going to spend money. We're going to spend money like these other teams do and get the best of the best for you at these positions of need. And we need you to get us a minimum of one playoff win to get everybody off our back. Because if you don't do it, it's going to be just, hey, we're going to do this. Hey, you got to go. We're not going to fire you. You're going to resign. It's going to be behind closed doors. Hey, we're going to just know that you're going to resign, or you can go and say you're retiring and take 2 years off and then go coach somewhere else or whatever. But we can't keep doing this, because if he doesn't make it, same thing happens next year, he comes back in his third year, he's a lame duck coach. And you know how things go for lame duck coaches unless they win it all. So, and I think there's too much respect for him to have him being a lame duck coach. So next year needs to be his last year if he doesn't win at least one playoff game.
Gotcha. Now, moving along.
Hey, I can't believe we lost like that.
Moving along to another blowout, which is going to end up being the matchup, one of the matchups next week that everyone is anticipating. We'll get to the other one. But before we get to that, the Buffalo Bills put a spanking on the Denver Broncos. I did some coded messaging. And I had a Mission Impossible movie poster with Sean Payton on the movie poster. And his mission was to win the state of Colorado back from Coach Prime, and go further in the playoffs than Russell Wilson. He accomplished neither. Unless Coach Prime decides to leave. But he accomplished neither due to the fact that Josh Allen and James Cook, boy, was cooking. And they cooked them. They came out looking good. I like the threads. The duds were looking very nice. They looked very fast. And they started out fast. Scored the first touchdown. That's how you do it. But it reminded me of a Super Bowl that they played in when they scored the first touchdown. And I believe it was the Redskins in 87. And they went and put they put it on them. And that's what Josh Allen completely stat to stat. Lamar and Josh are headed for a collision course next week to possibly be what is the deciding factor of a lot of people who are going to say, okay, this is why I'm voting for the most valuable player. Because that boy was running on that sideline and looked downfield and threw a 50-yarder on a rope. And it was windy out there.
He got a cannon.
And it was in that moment I was like, Sean really didn't have a chance.
I give Bo Nix credit. I wasn't expecting much out of him this year, but he showed me something.
Shout out to Bo Nix. One of the two youths.
Yeah.
We have one of two rookies to make it in the playoffs. I think last year we had two that were first year starter.
Sure. Yeah.
So he wasn't a rookie. He was a first year starter. So technically, to go along with C.J. Stroud, Jordan Love. But nevertheless, Bo 1 out of 2, and we'll get to that. But yeah, next week, man. What do you now that we've the game was just what it was. So what do you see between Baltimore and Buffalo coming up next week?
Yeah. Well, let me say this first. And you said it, we talked about it the other week, but for me, my MVP has got to go to, I believe it's got to go to Josh. And the votes go in this week, so we should know, I believe we should know this
Before the game.
weekend, yeah,
Right.
who it is. But Josh,
It should hold off on it.
yeah, you look at what Josh is doing, and that's taking nothing away from Lamar. Because now everybody's talking about the stats, putting stats together. Well, if you look at Lamar's stats last year, they were just ordinary. They were some of the worst stats ever for an MVP. And Allen had some great stats, but he didn't get it. But I think that it was a two-man game, really, offensively. It was Cook and Allen the way it was Lamar and Henry. I think that Buffalo I don't think Buffalo has enough offensive firepower as far as being more players get the ball to. I think, Josh just has less weapons. I don't think they're going to beat
So what you're
Ravens.
saying, basically what you're saying is Josh has to have an MVP caliber game. No flaws. Win. Where Baltimore just has so many weapons until even if Lamar plays a flawed game, it's still difficult for Buffalo Bills to win.
Yeah, because think about it, if Lamar doesn't play well, you still got 22 back there that you keep feeding the rock to. If Josh doesn't play well, Cook is a good back, but he's not the back who's going to beat you when everything else isn't working. And I don't know what we're going to get from Cooper. And Coleman's a rookie. He's he's in and out.
Is Shakir hurt? I don't think so.
Remember. I just don't see Buffalo. They're playing in Buffalo though, so that's gonna help. I believe they're playing in Buffalo. Yeah. So they're playing in Buffalo. I think it'll be a good game, and I hope that all of them, both offenses, are clicking on all cylinders. And I also hope that both defenses come out there and play well. I don't want to see a shootout. I want to see a good game, maybe 24-17, hard fought 24-17, hard fought 24-21. I don't want to see 30 and 40 points apiece, because that tells me
we're going to get to what actually a shootout is. Keep that in your post-it in your head, because I want to talk about that, and it has a lot to do with Tampa Bay Buccaneers Washington game. Now, before I jump the gun, because I was asking you about, well, you were telling me about, but let's not forget, C.J. Stroud cancels out one of the Harbaugh brothers. Justin Herbert is pretty much, I look at it like this. Justin Herbert is about to find himself in a possible, and I don't know what the contracts are, but he could possibly find himself the subject matter in a conversation between the San Diego Chargers and the Minnesota Vikings. And that conversation would have been better if Sam Darnold would have gave himself more of an opportunity. We're going to get to Sam Darnold and his feats in a minute. But Justin Herbert, as talented as he is, I don't know if Harbaugh is willing to waste his time with someone he didn't choose, knowing that his QB is probably about to be in a battle to prove himself if Darnold gets an opportunity to keep starting job in Minnesota, because they have a lot of promise for J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota. But before I go there, Houston did indeed defeat the San Diego Chargers. And I don't want to take anything away from Houston, having to play and meet Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City and act like it's an automatic win. I don't want to do that. But I do want to say that Lamar and Josh are like, so, and either one of them can be whoever they want to be. Either one of them can be whoever you want to be. But it's almost like, okay, I gotta go defeat Thanos. And then next week, if Kansas City wins, now I gotta go fight Darkseid. Like, this is what you're rewarding me with. Either one of them. And either one of them have had their troubles with this man. So it's only fitting if he does win. But football, sports sometimes does not give us what we desire. We wanted to have Boston and LA sometimes, and the Houston Rockets snuck in. Sometimes sports disallows us the things that we desire. Sometimes sports lets you take that week off. So I'm just not going to just take Houston out of it. Who was that? Something we wanted Boston to win, and then the Orlando Magic and Dwight Howard made it in. Or you didn't see Kobe and LeBron. It's one of those things. Sports just does that. So I just don't want to take Houston out of it. But that is a lot to deal with if you have to go in, especially Josh Allen. You got to go in and does Josh Allen have an MVP?
No.
Okay. You got to be the 2-time MVP. And if you beat a 2-time MVP, you're possibly going to meet another 2-time MVP?
Yes. Three-time Super Bowl champ. Yep.
3-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time Super Bowl MVP. Woo! What did you say? The Wonder Twins and the Monkey. That's a long.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, Houston. Well, let me say this about Herbert. Herbert just signed a contract last year, so he's just going into his second year of this big deal. Herbert, for all of the things that he can do well, all the gifts that he has, he hasn't shown that he can get you over the hump. He needs a playoff win now. He's put up numbers. They won some games. He got to the playoffs, but he needs to play a postseason win. Because right now, for me, with the exception of the fact that he can't run, he's looking real Carson Palmer-ish right now. Can do everything that you want your quarterback to do. Looks the part, plays the part. But when it matters, it's similar to stage fright. I mean, two of those picks I wouldn't put on him, but he still had 2 other picks. And he's got what he has to do because he does need some more weapons. I give him that. But that's the only part that I can't make him Carson Palmer because the boy don't have Ocho Cinco and Husmanzada. But Lad McConkey is coming around. My thing is this, though.
You have that,
My thing is this. Great players make those guys around them better. Because Patrick Mahomes this year and last year, he had a tight end, but he didn't have anything to write home about helping him out.
Before you go there, I don't want you to keep going there, but I just kind of want you to hold in the back of your mind the excuses you were making for Pittsburgh. As you say, great players, so when they have those things holding them back, they still figure out ways because you did. I was thinking about that because you did.
We don't have no great players other than one. We don't have any great players on offense. We got one on defense.
Okay. So what your running back is not your running back.
He ain't great.
But he hadn't been put in a position to look great either. Like you said, they put you in position to.
Yeah, but he hadn't shown flashes of being great. I mean, some people. I mean, he's a pedestrian back. I mean, I love him because he's on my squad. I wanted him in the first round, but if they don't re-sign him, I have no problem with it because he's got 7 100-yard games in 4 years. That's not great. That's not. Oh, I'm not being in the position, put in the position. Man, you don't have 4 years and you don't average. You only average 100-yard game per year.
What school did he come from?
Alabama.
It's too cold for him up there, man. Too cold for him to run. Go ahead and finish your point.
Yeah, so he's got to elevate those guys. I don't see him elevating those guys. But he does need some help. He's still young, but he's flirting with Carson Palmer right now. And I also want to know if Harbaugh is willing to change his philosophy because he doesn't really put the ball in Herbert's hands. He's trying to win running the ball. And hey,
and he went
some for me
like that last year.
Yeah, throw some for me every now and then. But we're gonna run the ball and play defense.
Who was his running back? Who was his running back in San Francisco?
Oh, in San Francisco.
He's spoiled. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Like he might even trade up to get Genty or something. Like he looking, he might want to run him back. But go ahead.
Yeah. So Herbert needs to pick that team up, put it on his shoulders regardless. And for Houston, the injuries they have received, I mean, the game was close for a good while, and all of a sudden, and hey, hats off to damn, now I can't remember the coach's name. Houston coach.
Yeah,
I got a brain for it. I got a brain for it.
Not DeMarco.
Yeah, DeMarco Ryan.
DeMeco Ryan.
Yeah, I gotta get hats off to him because what he did last year and what he's doing this year, and they've got some good pieces, but these injuries are hurt.
And that game was in Houston, right?
Yeah.
All right. Put DeMeco in your post-it note. He gonna be in a little bucket for a question I got later on. Go ahead.
And I hope that he does well next week. But the injuries they have. I mean, DeMeco is showing me that he's a good coach, and he's got those guys. They believe in what he's trying to get across to them, and they are an actual team. They're a unit. It's not one guy who's doing this, that, and other. Everybody's doing their part, and with the receivers being down, they're still getting things done. And they're one of those teams now. You mess around and let them hang around, and they still there in the second half. They're like, wait a minute. We still in this. We hadn't done everything we should be doing, but we're still in. Man, forget this. Let's go ahead and win this game. So, I mean, I think the future looks bright for the Texans, regardless of what happens next.
Absolutely. Now, let's move on to the NFC with the game we just watched. I don't want to say sleeper, but you said watch out for them. LA Rams, Minnesota Vikings, and LA just kind of like they went to Arizona and put the city on their back. It kind of reminded you of the Saints.
Yeah.
After Hurricane Katrina, even though they didn't have the magnitude as far as playoff was concerned. I think it was the first game of the season that happened. But it really motivated the rest of the season. And again, man, Minnesota was 14-3. But they were a fifth seed, 14-3 too. And they had lost like 3 straight. That's why it's not always good to backpedal into the playoffs, because you're losing momentum and it's hard to kind of snap that back in without a bye week. So
The funny thing about Minnesota is they lost 4 games, including the playoffs. And those 4 games they lost were the 2 teams. The Rams beat them twice with the playoffs, and the Lions beat them twice. I mean, that's a heck of an anomaly.
That was winning. That was who they were going to see moving forward, no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. And those 2 teams just had their numbers this season. Unfortunately, they couldn't pull off a 2002 Bucks when New Orleans had their number.
Mm-hmm.
They figured out, okay, 3 times the charm. You can't beat us or Philadelphia the same way. And then you, bam, take New Orleans out. Bam, take Philadelphia out. You can't. And you had lost to them earlier in the season. So that was 2002. So Minnesota couldn't pull that one out. And I have to say this. Sam Darnold did his best impersonation of Dak Prescott. I believe he got sacked 7 times?
All right.
Oh, goodness. I must turn it off. But he played a heck of a regular season. And then first round of the playoffs, you stink up the joint. And then you go sit at the table and negotiate a deal off of regular season numbers. See, in Minnesota, you can do that. In Minnesota, you should be able to do that. I'm going to go back to the same thing I told you. When you are one of these Super Bowl franchises, certain things shouldn't even be negotiated if it's not in reference to what you did in the play. It's just what it is. I don't want to hear about your regular season feats. If you made it through the regular season uninjured, okay, we'll add something to that. Other than that, what are your playoff numbers? So Sam Darnold left a lot of money on the table. And I think the franchise tag next year, if they want to keep it, is like $44 million or something crazy. So he still left a lot of money on the table. JJ's coming back. He didn't really give them any reason to not say, let's move on cheaper with the rookie.
Yeah. I think with Donald, he did cost himself because he didn't play well in he didn't play well in the last game of the regular season against Detroit, who is arguably the best team in the league. And now the Rams, who are on a winning streak, they came out, and I mean, it didn't help that he got sacked 9 times. I mean, he's never been fleet of foot, so he's not going to escape rush. But he didn't have blocking. His receivers weren't helping him out. It's almost like Sam Darnold played like Sam Darnold. And if you've watched him over the years, you know exactly what I mean. I think he's going to probably wind up somewhere. If he's not back in Minnesota, I think he'll probably get a 3-year, $35 million deal. $35 million a year.
Right.
And then after 2 years, if he's really doing something, he's like, no, but I'm thinking he might be on Kirk Cousins' trajectory. He's not, I don't think that he's not as good as he was this year. He's not trash, but he's more like an extended stopgap. I will keep you and we'll pay you and you play until we can find somebody that's definitely better. We'll keep Sam Darnold around. If that's 3 or 4 or 5 years, so be it. But as soon as we can find somebody that's really better, hey, we get them out of there. I still think Minnesota has something to decide. Can we do these same things with McCarthy? He's coming off of an injury. He wasn't ever asked to really win games with his arm, regularly in college. Can he do that in the NFL? Can he do that with this offense? Can he run this offense as efficiently as Darnold did? That's a question they're going to have to ask. And I think I'm not sure if I'd be willing to take the risk on him, even though he's my first round pick. So apparently I thought that, but I didn't at the same time. Yeah. But at the same time, I didn't think that I was going to get that kind of year out of Donald either. Donald messed around and had a Kurt Warner type year when Trent Green got hurt. He wasn't just okay and like, all right, we'll limp through the season. Maybe he can get us 9 wins. He played very well. So I don't know. The jury is out on whether or not they are going to or whether they should re-sign him or not. Franchise tag him, or give him another 1-year deal. Again, they'll use the last 2 games, particularly the playoffs, against him to keep his value down. Yeah.
Keep him value.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way you get away with that is in Texas.
Yeah. But where's Donald gonna go? He's not going back to the Jets. I can't see him. I tell you where I can actually see him ending up.
Some landing spots.
I can see him ending up in Pittsburgh because they wouldn't have to pay him much, and Khan and the Rooney don't want to have to pay that kind of money for a quarterback. But I don't think Tomlin would sign off on it because Tomlin has Jackson envy. He's said it numerous times how he loves mobility, because even when Ben was in this last year, he said mobility. It's highly thought of and highly respected. So I can see him doing that, but I don't know what you're gonna get out of Donald next year, regardless of where he is.
You got let's see. I'm going to try to exclude the draft because Cleveland, because Deshaun Watson just got hurt again, unfortunately. Los Angeles, Las Vegas, New York Giants, New York Jets. You don't see him going back to the Jets. And who else is out there? I think that's it.
The Saints have said that they believe in Carr, so he's not going there.
The Saints have said they believe in Carr.
Yeah.
Then,
who else?
They said that then. But the Saints are still needing a quarterback. Did Seattle extend
Geno? No, but Geno, this is his 3rd year. I think they're going to extend Geno.
Okay, Geno. Then you
Funny thing is, for years, you've always been able to say, man, the Lions could use a quarterback, but not the Lions have a quarterback. So you can't.
To be totally honest, how old is Sam Darnold?
27.
That's a nice little prime. Let's just say he's never been there before and he got the playoff jitters. Right? Going to the Lions with that core receivers and spending Goff's probably last 2 good years.
Goff's got some more time left too. Goff is only 32.
That's a wrap. Yeah, that's a wrap.
I can't think anywhere else for Donald.
That's what I'm saying. A veteran behind Goff at 29 when Goff is pretty much on his decline by 34 and you can get rid of him would be good for Donald. Just sit behind him. Because Donald was expected to sit anyway. So then you got a 29-year-old who can get in and fill the gaps for a rookie
Tennessee.
they need to draft.
Tennessee
is up there and they may go ahead. They were one of those ones where you kind of know they're going to draft a rookie quarterback. So you got to know, okay, are we pulling a Kirk Cousins type of situation where we got Darnold sitting here? You know what? A lot of people might not believe this, but Arizona might be looking.
Yeah.
Arizona might be looking. We got a high caliber, a wide receiver out there, and we have a situation going on with that boy, with the quarterback. He's volatile. So that's the situation. The Colts, Richardson. Richardson is on his.
This be his 3rd year.
I might need to go see if he could tap out, you're leading. Everybody's watching you, and you're leading yourself into. Well, who wants me? Who's going to decide to want me enough to let me grow up? If Indianapolis said, "All right, that's one more year. You just did that one last thing," because he could be putting himself in a bad. You don't do anything socially wrong or anything, but you just have one of those great years. That's okay, but you throw a lot of interceptions like Jameis Winston, and we just gotta let you go. You know, you just it just might be one of those things that just happens to people who done previous stuff that we don't like.
Mhm.
So he leaves himself open to maybe Mike T saying in his last couple of years, I like the fact that you a big boy and you run, and I used to win with that. Come help me solidify myself over here with these guys. I don't know, but Darnold has places where if I plug you in there and I see what you can do, like, and that's what I'm saying. I've seen what you can do willing to sit behind someone, and you tell the someone that you're sitting behind, okay, go make it happen. Wait a minute. I forgot one. Is San Francisco really sold on Purdy?
Yeah, they've come out and said they want to get the deal done quick. Yeah. And I tell you, straight on the other side of that game, the Rams are a team that I don't think anybody wants to see in these
How old
coming
is
weeks.
Stafford?
45, 46. No, I think he's like 36.
But who's backing him up?
Man, there's somebody I can't remember, but it's somebody who you keep saying, why is he still in the league? That's
Okay.
who his backup is.
So, and I ain't mean to cut you off, but when you said that, it reminded me of, a Darnold
Yeah.
landing spot. But go ahead.
Yeah. The Rams are a team that you don't want to see coming. They on a winning streak because, for one, they got weapons offensively. The defensive line is very capable of wrecking shop. The defense plays well. They tackle well. What's his name?
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep getting him and Laporta confused. Cool. Then Cup, when he's healthy, he calls Kyrian Williams is, for whatever reason, he puts up numbers, and you don't think of him as one of the better backs in the league, but he can do everything that you want a running back to do. And Stafford, I was never sold on him in college, other than I know he had a big arm, and I was never sold on him in Detroit. And the year after the Super Bowl, I was like, yeah, see, that's it. But he's matured since he's been with the Rams and is capable of bringing the team to victory anytime they can score at will.
Sometimes
They
you
can
get a little
score at
loose when you
will.
get that Super Bowl under your chest.
Huh?
When you get that Super Bowl under your belt, you get a little loose.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Rams are a dangerous team. The Rams are my pick. How can I put it? The Rams are my 87 Redskins. No one thought they were going to get there, but they got in somehow.
You have them in the NFC Championship game against Detroit.
They can. If they're the dark horse, or if they're the team that's still in it, who could surprise everybody and win it, and get to the Super Bowl, it's the Rams. I'm not saying they're going, but if I had to pick somebody who, out of who's left, who I would say can surprise everybody, it's the Rams. Because if you ask them, they believe they can win. They believe they can beat anybody, and they play like it.
Well, okay. Speaking of people who believe they can beat anybody, and they play like it, and they say no mas. Philadelphia just kind of toys with Green Bay. A battered and depleted Green Bay, just to say the least. Jordan Love couldn't get it together, and when he couldn't get it together, his already battered receiving core just kept going down and down. And it was sad to see him put them boys in position to keep getting headaches. Because I think at some point they started having alligator arm and crocodile arm, you know.
Headaches.
Yeah, man, them boys was sad. But yeah,
Yes.
Philadelphia was on the sideline reading books. Saquon Barkley sliding. And they telling him, man, you could have ran some more yards down to the 10 to get your yards up. He had to explain to people he's not gambling. Philadelphia won soundly. So, unless you have anything really much to say about that game, it's really pretty much the next week matchup between them and who is it, the Rams?
Philly is playing.
Detroit.
Yeah, Philly's playing Detroit.
No.
No, Philly's playing in the Commanders.
No. The Commanders are playing.
Commanders going to Detroit.
The Commanders going to Detroit because that's the battle of the two Dans.
Yeah.
That I'm going to get to.
Yeah. I think that Philly needs Hurts to play like he got paid. The money that he's getting paid is what he needs to play like. Because I'm not convinced that they can win anything if Saquon gets shut down.
So you didn't like the way Smith and Brown played?
I gotta see more out of Hurts. He needs to show that he's capable of having them win a game with his arm.
Yeah, it's LA against Philly.
Yeah. Because they gonna need that when they play the Rams. But Philly's got a heck of a squad. They got
a heck of a defense coming along right now.
Yeah. But I also think that Hurts needs to elevate his play and with the Packers. I ask you this, do you think Love earned his money this year after he, considering what he got paid?
This is another segment, so I'm going to keep this short.
Yeah.
I think we live in a microwave world, and we get a lot of young people paid before they need to be paid. I don't want to get Jayden Daniels paid before he need to be paid. But let's go move on.
In this game.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I think the Phillies are going to.
If you want to move on to the next game, I did say Jayden Daniels. And Jayden Daniels, with a 23-20 victory at home. The only one, before last night, before Matthew Stafford, tonight, excuse me. He was last night. He was the first one to win an away game. Playoff. Defeating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23-20. Last minute field goal. And
that kicker.
I hope the coaches understand this is not our guy. When he missed early, and then he went out on that field and he scratched his head and he couldn't.
Yeah, but he kept doing his head like this, fixing his hair before he put the helmet on. I said he about
to miss it. And that's why I say Todd Bowles, that was bad coach. Because let me tell you a little story right quick. I think it was 2000, 2001. It was raining. And Curtis Martin.
Hold that thought right quick. The way you said that reminded me of Bill Cosby when he would kick back and start telling Theo the year was 19.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. It was raining. And so Wayne Corbett, it was the game. Keyshawn Johnson was finally meeting. Keyshawn was a buck, and he was finally facing. Not even finally, they just put it on the schedule because they knew it was the best thing to do that year. He was facing the Jets. Game came down to the end, and they did a running back toss pass to Wayne Corbett for the win. Great storyline, right? To be Keyshawn.
Mm-hmm.
To add on the fire, they're interviewing Curtis Martin, and Curtis Martin says, I mean, I've never really ran that play. You could have scouted me from the game. I thought they saw me take my glove off. I would have looked at that as a sign that I'm going to throw the ball. All right. He basically called a lot of Hall of Famers on that defense. But at any rate, fast forward. If I'm on the sideline, I see this man fidgeting with his shoe. He coming out the sideline with his helmet. I mean, he played with his head, his own head,
Mm-hmm.
50 times. I would have timed out him. I would have had my man go over to him. What's okay? You okay? Like you gotta stir him. He's already messed up. I don't think none of the guys on that line were even reminding him of what he had done earlier. And he still almost botched it up. Man, you gotta coach your boys up and tell them, man. You gotta coach your boys up and tell them.
Yeah, hey, this is a guy who hadn't kicked in X number of years, hadn't done anything, and he's out there doing all this. You need to get in his head. Hey, we probably ain't gonna block it, but we finna tell you, hey, we know you're gonna miss it. You know you don't belong out here. You gonna miss it. You gonna miss it. Matter of fact, think about it. Time out.
Yeah. Yeah. You remember
Yeah.
the movie Airplane where the dude, he was an Army vet, and he had only flown like warplanes.
Once.
But he had to land a big plane, and he was all nervous. And he was alcoholic, how he was sweating. I would have had him. You gotta have him like that.
Yeah. Jayden Daniels, I did not expect what nobody did. Anybody who says they did, they lying. I didn't expect this year out of Jayden Daniels.
Contrast of cool. We're talking about the most nervous kicker we've ever seen. And then to the coolest dude on the field. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if they had won games, he would, because we talked about early in the season. If they had won more, yeah, he would definitely be in the running for the MVP because he doesn't get flustered. It's like, man, it's the last play. It's the last play. We need to get this in order to win. Man, just run the play, fellas. We got this. I mean, and when you look at his college career prior to his last year at LSU, there was nothing that told you he was going to do this because he wasn't anything at Arizona State. He got to LSU and took off, and he's continued to do it.
Yeah, he kept rising at LSU to me. Like, he just kept he kept making you say, okay, let me watch this little young man. Okay, he up for the Heisman. Let me see what they're talking about. Yeah, I can kind of see it.
Yeah. Wait.
He ain't better than Penix Jr., though. Penix Jr., he's not better than Penix Jr. Face. I'm looking at both of them like, and I'm looking at it like, he kind of is. Look, wait a minute. Penix Jr. played harder people. Like he just kept. He just kept doing his thing. Like, he really kept doing his thing. I got to give him credit. He kept doing his thing.
And Washington is gutsy. They got Washington. They have McLaren, who's a good receiver. They got Robinson, who's a good back, and they picked up what's his name from the Chargers. I can't remember his name now. You know what I'm talking about? Short guy that never had hit 1,000, but it's always scoring a lot of touchdowns.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Let me get him for you.
Can't remember his name for whatever reason, because he was hurt a lot this year.
Right.
But I mean, they've got pieces. They've got different pieces all along their offense that Jayden gets involved.
Eckler.
And they score. Austin Eckler, yeah. And Dan Quinn is basically like, yeah, see, Dallas, you should have put me in as your head coach. Or, hey, I've learned some stuff I know some stuff, and I'm finna show y'all. Dan Quinn is looking like a good coach. Kingsbury is down there. He's doing his thing with Jayden. It's almost like he's getting his chance to get out of Jayden what he wanted to get out of Kyler Murray. And Kingsbury is back in the hunt for a head coaching job also.
Oh, we know.
I think. Yeah.
We know. We know. The only unfortunate side of that with us is I don't think Dan Quinn is going to give us a good recommendation. I think Dan Quinn had a great time in Dallas, but there were some things that made him say, "Do you really want to be there?" As a head coach, as a coordinator, maybe. As a head coach, I don't think so. I don't think Dan Quinn will give him a good recommendation for us. But anyway, I was before you went to that, I want to go here. Dan Quinn was what you should be. Even though he's not a first-year head coach, he is what you want your first. What year is Dan Campbell in?
This is fourth season.
Fourth season. Dan Campbell started his first season too. 17-13. It's my first year. I have nothing to lose. Let's go for it on fourth down. Let's kick onside kick. Because in these, he was almost like, you're not even expected to be here, guys. So let's let them know we're here. The pressure is on Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
To prove I can dethrone Tom Brady. Really can't, but it ain't no Jayden. Jayden, guess what? If you don't make 4th and goal, that's still a 98-yard drive, man.
You're a rookie. We ain't expecting you to do all of that, don't we?
It's what it is. But you're taking points off the board. So what? At the end of this game, if the Bucs win, you're at home and you're still a rookie. And they already beat you once this year. Everything to not be nervous about, we're going to put it on the kicker. Or to be nervous about, we're going to put it on the kicker. It's almost like he ate all their nervousness for them. But everybody else, let's go out here and ball. And like I said, there's only Tom Brady, Cam Ward this season, Patrick Mahomes, and now Jayden Daniels. You can add yourself to this list. It takes a magician to go out. No, anybody can go get in the shootout when the defense is giving up points. Anybody can get that ball and go down there and drive down, get a touchdown, and get a man the ball back, and he go do the same to you, and then you go do the same to him. But it takes a magician. They have 3 or 4 minutes left on the clock, or you see your defense, you can't stop anybody, and the best defense is to keep the other offense off the field. That's a different type of quarterback to do that. You are special, and you just put your name on that list for me, Mr. Daniels. Everybody else, y'all got to learn how to do that.
Yeah,
y'all got to learn how to do that.
Yeah, he's got ice in his veins.
I'm telling you.
And those guys, they believe in him. It's rare to get a rookie quarterback, where you got all these veterans who believe in you and follow you. He reminds me of Joe Kane in the program. And there's a scene in the program before whoever decided they would take it out because they didn't want to influence his kids. But they were sitting around at the bar and they were drinking. And Latimer, the linebacker, said, "Hey, you gonna lead us, huh? You gonna lead us, Joe?" That's what it says. He said, "I'll lead. Can you follow?" And in the scene that's repeated out, he take all the guys who were in the bar with him, he takes them out and they all go lay down in the middle of the street with cars going by each side. Nobody flinching, nobody moving. We all know you go lay down in the middle of the street, there's a good chance somebody gonna get hit.
Right.
But they all went out there and laid down, single file line, laid down in the middle of the street, cars flying by, because they believed in Joe Kane. He could take them where, like you said, I'm gonna lead, but can y'all follow? And that's what Jayden has done with this team. Yeah, I'm gonna lead, but can y'all follow? And they are following him everywhere that he goes.
Everywhere he goes. Now, they have a coach that believes he can put him in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan Quinn is about to meet an offensive-minded coach, and he's a defensive-minded coach. I know Dan is feeling his 28-3, and he wants his redemption back. So we're gonna see how this run goes for him. But like I said, like at this point, you done. I think if you beat LA next week, then you get into the why not us mode. But at right now, hey, you've done more than expected.
Playing with house money.
You playing with house money. You know, that's just what it is. And so, with that being said, now I want to get to my question, because the biggest news of the NFL is, because we already had it and we're still constantly having it, all the Black Mondays that are going down. A lot of coaches fired after their first year. Mike McCarthy, even though he's not one of those coaches, was just told he didn't get fired, but we're not going to
give you a new deal.
Well, we're not going to give you another deal. So before I get to my question, who do you feel is a good landing spot for the Cowboys job?
So who do I think a good coach for them? I'm going to go with, he's a hot hand and everybody's talking about, but what is his name? Johnson in Detroit.
Oh, the offensive coordinator.
The offensive coordinator, yeah. I
not
think they
Aaron
need
Glenn, not Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator.
I don't think they need a defensive guy. I think they need an offensive guy, somebody to help straighten Dak out, somebody to get CeeDee Lamb more involved and use him more, somebody to develop another receiver to go along with him. I think you can get a defensive coordinator to just come in and work on their defense, but I think their offense is really what's going to get. It's really what they need to get them over.
You guys just got the new defensive coordinator as well. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Johnson is the guy, and I think that would be a good job for him. But personally, I wouldn't want to work with Jerry Jones, but Johnson doesn't seem to be a guy who's out front anyway, because you don't hear anything from him. I've never heard him interview. The only thing that I hear from him is those plays that he calls and the creative plays that he comes up.
You gotta understand that regardless of how you feel and what you've ever been prior to being Dallas Cowboys coach, once you become one of your job duties is public figure. So you're going to end up hearing him speak by default.
Yeah.
What's going to be.
But I don't think that he has the. He doesn't have. I don't think he's not one. He doesn't seem to be like he craves the spotlight. I don't think so. It's possible that Jerry Jones doing what Jerry does might not get under his skin and affect him as far as doing his job.
How old is he?
Let
me look him up.
He's in his 40s, early 40s, late 30s. But I think Dak would love. I think Dak would love playing on them. Offense that's creative like that, and it would reinvigorate the offense, because he would basically be trying to recreate and expand on a lot of the things that he's doing in Detroit. So I think it would be good, and he moves pieces around, so he can move Lamb around. I think he could generate and develop another receiver.
He falls in line. He falls in line with what I like. Remember, I said that young, 38 years old. So
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. I hope he comes in and doesn't like that. If he comes in and doesn't like that, like if you hire him and he comes in and he doesn't like that, but he know I got to deal with him 2 more years, but I know I got a night in waiting, so I'll just whatever. Oh man, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Of course, people are saying pride. I'm not gonna say pride, but I understand why people are saying pride. But kind of see Jerry Jones as like a father, not a father figure, but a father. And what I mean by that is you have got to leave Jerry Jones' name out of it. If you could just get Jerry out of there, I wouldn't. You can't. So I know I have this thing right here. How can I still manage with that? That's the answer. Because when people say, oh, but Jerry's still, you got to leave that alone. It's just nothing you're going to get rid of. It's a family business. And even, and I wish the man, I don't wish anything bad on him. His demise, his expiration, or anything like that. He's run this business since he was 45, 46 years old. You don't think his kid's going to run it just like him? So, I mean, you got to find a way to, okay, how can I travel through that and still, because I got a funny feeling if you don't find that out, a lot of people going to end up finding out the same way, because guess what? Al Davis is gone. Where have the Raiders went?
They remain in the toilet.
And now Antonio Pierce is gone. Who do you think should take over for Antonio Pierce? Who do you think should take over for Gerard Mayo? These things have lingering effects that aren't one person. And people in their minds be making it a person. And then that person is gone. How long Belichick been gone?
Only a year.
Oh, yeah, because Gerard Mayo only got 1 year.
Yeah, only a year.
So it's just, you got to figure that thing out. Like you can't be allowing those ghosts, even those living ghosts, to haunt you like that. But I will ask you this question. I need to know your sincere answer. College or pro, is there a prerequisite that a black coach has, or a coaching criteria that a black coach has that a white coach doesn't, that allows them to last longer than year or two, or if you don't do this by this certain time, I can't allow you to be here? Like, do you feel that there's that unwritten rule hanging over the black coach's head?
I think so, and it's cultural.
Unless you work with erroneous.
Yeah, I think there is, and I think it's cultural, and I think it's inherently human why it's like that. I don't think it's necessarily racial from a prejudicial or bigotry point of view, but it's the fact that it's human nature. Look, I'm handing over, particularly NFL, but college too. But I'm gonna say NFL. I'm gonna use NFL because it's actually owned by someone, as opposed to college not being owned by a particular person.
Right.
I'm gonna let you run my family business. I don't really know you because you don't look like me. We weren't raised the same. So I don't know, I know we got the same idea as far as what we want to do. We want to win, but it's a lot easier for anybody to hand over the keys to someone who looks like them as opposed to someone who doesn't, because you feel as though you know that person. Even though you don't know them, you feel as though you know them because they look like you. If there was a black owner, if there was a black owner in the NFL, I believe that there will be the head coach will be black for the first time, because
Do you
I
think
know
black people
you.
would expect that black owner to have a black head coach?
Yeah, they would. And I think that
Would
if
it
the
be wrong if he
person,
didn't have it?
some people have a problem if he didn't have it, but I think
Well,
you give it to, personally, I believe you give it to the best, most qualified person for what you want to have done. That's the way I look at it. But just being a human, just being human, you tend to gravitate towards those who look like you. Now, now there was someone who didn't look like you, but they grew up with you, and you are accustomed to that person. You might not see them the same way you see others that look like them.
kind of like Mario Cristobal grew up with that defensive coordinator we had. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like Gerard Mayo, even though he got fired after a year, he grew up in the Patriots organization. They drafted him. He
Familiarity,
played
right?
for him. They coached. So I know you don't look like me, Gerard, but I know you, and you like me, even though you don't look like me, because I raised you, so to speak. You know, we grew up together. So I can hand over the keys to the car to you, because I think you're gonna do like what I would do, or like somebody else who looks like me would do. Didn't work out that way, but I think that psychologically, I think that's what comes into play, as opposed to just getting somebody. It's just like when if you go out to eat and there's a mixer going on, generally you go towards people that look like you. It's not a bad thing. It's just people that look like you feel as though you're gonna be more comfortable and open up and expressing yourself to them, unless you grew up in a certain way or around certain people. I think and I think inherently that they're holding you to a higher standard when they go outside of their comfort zone to get you. I'm going out on the edge, and I'm stepping out here to hire you. And wait a minute, you done had 2 losing seasons. I was kind of iffy on you anyway, but I took a chance on it. You got to go. I'd rather take my chances with him who looks like me and see what he does, as opposed to you. So yeah, I think there is that pressure. I think it's psychological and it's cultural, not necessarily where you aren't, not one of those where you just aren't good enough to do it. It's just, I think they're more comfortable with it. Quick story. I remember when I was years ago, when I was thinking about becoming a stockbroker with Merrill Lynch. I was talking to my uncle who was a broker there, and he told me, "Hey, you gotta," because I used to dress. I had kind of loud ties and stuff like that, bright colors and stuff like that. And he told me, "Hey, you're gonna have to tone it down, because get you wear your blue suits, get your tie, your plain, boring stuff or whatnot." He said, "Because the majority of the people that you're dealing with don't look like you, and you're trying to get them to give you their money to manage. They're much more comfortable giving it to who they look like, as opposed to someone who doesn't look like them. Doesn't mean that you're not as qualified, but that's a hurdle that you're gonna have to deal with, because you're in it. And I think that's the same way with coaching, when these owners are hiring these coaches."
Great story. Great story. And I think those walls and those barriers begin at places like Merrill Lynch, since you bring that up, because college and pros, you have alumni, you have boosters. Professional football, a lot of people, and I hate to be as they say, I hate to be trying to speak butterfly to caterpillars, because they'll never understand the language. But people do tend to believe that the business of football and the business of sports entertainment itself is about winning. That's fandom. That's fan. Oh, I can point at you. I can say what I can say at the barbershop and bang my chest and say, I beat you, I beat you, I beat you. I won a game. I won a championship this many years ago, or I have this many championships in my history of my championship. Well, y'all haven't won it. That's fan-based stuff. The reality is, and you say comfort, you don't have anybody vouching for you on the board either. All those signage and all those signs around the stadium and all those corporate sponsorships, because remember, there's 51% stake ownership and then there's 49 broken up. Then of that 49, you have those millionaires and billionaires who have constituents and partnerships too. And if all of those people are looking like you, the familiarity to the face of their company, let's just start with quarterback. Then we'll go to coach. You have to be in a comfortable environment for stuff like that. And if they have not made themselves comfortable with those heads in their C-level positions to sit around their round tables, it's hard for them to give you more than a year's worth of chance if you're not doing anything that's making them happy. And what makes them happy is revenue. Revenue can excuse a lot of L's. This is why I love the blessing that Prime is as a coach. Because the way he pushes the GDP in Colorado makes it very difficult for them to tell him 9-3 ain't good enough. Losing a bowl game ain't good enough. You don't get it next year. There have been coaches fired for what Deion did. We've seen it. At whatever school, we've seen black coaches fired for the turnaround Deion did. It just wasn't enough in enough time for us. Because even with you doing that, you do not give us the pocket change we need to continue believing you're going to get the W and you're going to get a bowl game. That offsets each other. That's why I say Todd Bowles, D'Amico Ryan, you do your job. Your first year in the NFL, guess what you got to do as a black coach? You got to check the box, man. We will let you survive with a playoff game. You definitely survive if you get us a playoff game and it's home. Put that money in our pocket. Antonio Pierce should have had that in the back of his mind. That's how you survive. The other boys, they don't have to do that. We expect you to do that maybe year 2. We'll give you that pass. Black coach, no sir. Gerard Mayo, you come from that environment. It's stoic, but you understand that the face of what sells this product is accustomed to seeing a white face. You're not selling this product as a black face. So guess why you got to sell this product? You got to sell this product as a winning face, which is a more acceptable black face. These people aren't racist. They accept the winning black face since Casey Jones. They got a current coach that won in Boston. They accepted his face, didn't they? Black coach. So it's not racial, but it's just certain criteria you have to meet. I can't believe you saying that. You making it sound like you just like them people. You want to be them people. Why we got to do that and we can't? Because that's just the way it is. If you don't go in there knowing you got to check that box, you got to win. Prime knew, I got to win these 9 games, but I better sell these glasses. I better sell these seats. I better sell me. Yeah. If someone takes Prime away from Colorado, and let's just say he goes to another school, Prime got to sell them seats. Because something got to offset you not winning. Because winning when you are color, something got to offset that. So you got to check the boxes. Phase 2. Guess what? It's called the Dungy syndrome. About to be the Mike T syndrome. Thank goodness he worked for the Roonies. You can't sit in that same position for more than 2 years. Just winning one playoff game or getting us a playoff round. No, you can't do that. Everybody ain't go. They're not going to let you be Jeff Fisher. Sorry. Yes, it's different. So after you win that first playoff game that first year, whether it's home or away, hopefully you get one home. Your next year, you better travel in the playoffs, buddy. Everybody ain't going to be Jason Garrett. Everybody ain't going to be Mike McCarthy. And we know this. You better travel. I will give you a second round, but make sure you get us our first. Make sure you get us a home playoff game. I need the revenue in my pocket. That keeps these people over here there's not a lot of people and constituents who look like you that can take up for you. In the Fortune 500 companies that are really paying everybody, happy. Because until you see more percentages of us in those boardrooms, you're not going to get to lose your first season and then get the same breaks. They can't afford it. They can't afford it. So don't come crying. It's the reality of where you sit in comparison to where they sit. Because just like Tank said, we're not used to seeing you. We are giving you the keys to our company. But what he didn't tell you was put your GPS in on the bank. Because that's where we need to travel. So don't come in here with all that old wins. No. Revenue, win. If you got to be a character, because if Antonio Pierce was a character and everybody don't want to be that, some people just want to be a football guy. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if Antonio Pierce was a character and he could sell the Raiders and he had that same record, he'll still be there this year. It's just a different criteria. The truth.
Yeah, you gotta be giving someone a reason. You gotta give them a reason to keep you if you're not winning.
If you're not winning. And the only reason when you're a black coach and you're not that personality that is going to sell their product by personality alone, it's getting the W's. Prime has the best of both worlds, but still understands. But not I put a 3. See, Prime has. I know I can sell this product, but he also has. They want to see me fail.
Yeah,
pushing him to get the W's because he know he got to get that too. So that all works hand in hand with his bolts of lightning that he pushes. So I'm telling you, man, I can't. This has been going on for too many years. We are in 2025, and these guys acting like they don't know what time it is. They don't know the truth. Magic Johnson is a part owner who will sit up and tell you, "Hey, man, you got to go."
Yep.
No W's and no revenue.
Yeah, you got to go.
You got to go, black or white. That's ownership.
Because they're in it to make money. They want to win a championship in the process, but they want to make money too. If it's easier or you got a better chance of making some money than you do of winning the championship.
Absolutely. And all of these leagues are only as good as their bottom guy. So I don't know who's the lowest on the list. Probably somewhere maybe Detroit got the lowest revenue.
I think that I know as far as the owners, I think they said Mark Davis is for lack of better term, he's the poorest of the NFL owners.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
So I just meant by what teams are making the least
Oh,
amount of money, but I guess I
yeah.
see what you're saying as far as that. But
Yeah,
it's
but
like
they got the revenue sharing too.
they got the
But
revenue share.
Detroit might be one of them. I'm trying to think. Jacksonville, I would say Jacksonville's probably.
Jaguars might be in there. Jaguars
Yeah,
might be in there. And we got to keep these teams up. And the point I'm making about this is you guys are wanting more and more and more money. Guess what? In order to give you more and more money,
gotta make more.
you gotta make more and more money, because one thing about a boss and one thing about a person that works for that boss or a worker is I'm always gonna have to be making like 10, 12 times more than you. If I don't see a picture in this dynamic where, oh, you want to be a $1 billion player? Yes. You want to be a $1 billion quarterback? Yes. Does that make me 12 billion? Then it's possible. But $1 billion and you only making me $1 billion and one? Nah. And the players have a little bit more line in with the owner in that regard, which is why the coach and the head coach, you solidify yourself with some level of something. Even Bill Belichick didn't have a personality. His stoic personality became a personality from use till we
Yeah,
made that something. Use can be a personality too.
yeah. If all you do is win, you can have the personality of a dry paint, but you're winning,
But you
and
win it.
that's what we need. Because you're winning, and your winning is also translating into money coming in.
Bill Cowher didn't have a personality. We thought he was a wannabe G.I. Joe dog. But the more Pittsburgh kept winning, remember, he was the first one with the winning season thing going for him. That chin started becoming more and more of a personality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody that's been in mind, even though I don't like him because I think he's too old. Somebody that's been in mind for his name to be mentioned for the Cowboys head coaching job, Rex Ryan. He got a personality from his father on what he did in Baltimore, on what he did with the Jets. But his little stint of winning gave him this charismatic, motivating personality. But it doesn't translate without the W's.
Right. Somebody else who was like that, going back some years or some decades, more of a personality than he was a winning coach. He won some, but he didn't do it. Jerry Glanville might be the biggest example of that.
Personality. As a matter of fact, who was that Prime's first coach? Or
Yeah.
was it?
No, there was Glanville there. 89.
89.
No, it was
Was it Reeves?
No, it wasn't Reeves. It was either Dan. It was Dan Henning, I think. No, Dan Henning was Vic. Was it Marion Campbell? I believe it was Marion Campbell, and then Glanville.
Then Glanville came. But Glanville, Bum Phillips, characters, revenue, all of this is telling y'all black coaches, y'all better. You're not just selling. You're not just selling wins. You got to get the wins, but you better put that money in their pocket. Some kind of, you got to find that mix. And don't be surprised when and like I said, I don't even think it's racial. I think you're not a good pitch man.
Now fan bases could be the way they act or whatnot, could be more, racially motivated.
Yeah, fan base.
Yeah, fan bases. But the owners, ultimately, they're worried about the green. I don't think that there's too many owners, if any, who I don't want to get one of them. I don't want that one of them to lead this team.
And the owners can work the media around you to make the fan base gravitate towards you if you give them the W's to get them home field advantage playoff games. You have to, as a black coach, you got to keep that in mind. I don't understand how y'all coming in here believing it's equal. It's not. Until you look down that hall and you see more brothers in that boardroom, they can say, "Nah, we can't get rid of that black." Even in alumni and boosters, we can't get rid of him like that yet. And then they argue back and forth, but they ain't CEOs of Chase, they ain't CEOs of Coke, they ain't CEOs of PepsiCo. You know, them the ones in there arguing about your future. Them the ones that got the big NIL money.
You got to realize that is not just one thing. You got to realize there's two ways to attack it, and if you do it right, you can be around a while. Just like somebody who we all know how we used to admit a friend of mine, we used to joke and say he must have pictures of the owner buck naked on the zebra. Marvin Lewis stayed around forever in Cincinnati. Never won a playoff game. But they were in the playoffs. They were having winning seasons. And they kept them around.
Certain demographics will allow, I think we might be looking at the type of environment Houston is. D'Amico could by himself keep winning.
Yeah.
You can just hang out there for a little while. We're open to letting you hang. We will. But they tread lightly on Raheem already.
Yeah, I mean he got a fan base that'll be behind him, but ownership, hey,
who got the money? Who really got the money in that fan base?
Yeah, exactly. The fan base don't have no money.
So not the ones who. It's not enough in the room look like him that can say, "Hey, now hold on now. You let Arthur sit here all that time and didn't even do this." So, but at any rate, man, any last words?
I think that last segment right there was some good last words. I'll just say I'm looking forward to the games this week. Hey, y'all stay tuned in. We're gonna see if there's one upset, because all the favorites won this week, except with the exception of the Rams. With the exception of the Vikings. So we're gonna see if we have any upsets this week. I think that everybody who's favored is probably gonna win. The Rams might be the only team that comes out with a win that you thinking maybe shouldn't.
Absolutely. And I don't have any last words myself. We've carried this segment on quite a bit, and as you can see, or you all can hear, I've been battling something, and that little something that said, "Hey man, I gave you an hour and 30 minutes to get me back rested. Tighten up." But at any rate, I want to, again, before I go, send special prayers out to the city of Los Angeles, anyone that has family in Los Angeles, all that they're trying to do in Los Angeles, firefighters, the families of the firefighters, anybody involved, and anybody across the world that may be going through something, because, I know it's something new every time, every week, something new under the sun, because we still haven't forgotten about the lives that were lost in New Orleans just a few weeks prior. So just sending prayers out to everyone as we try to navigate this new 2025 year that I hope and I anoint will be prosperous for not only us here at No Jazz, for all of you who tune in to us and watch us. And remember, that is NOJASS. That stands for Not Just Another Sports Show. We are at No Jazz Show on Instagram. That's NOJASSHOW, No Jazz Show. Facebook, NOJASS. TikTok, NOJASSHOW.
Well, and
Limit.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
at least to the 19th, we're on TikTok. We don't know about after that.
Man, and they've been ranting on that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's January 18th, 12 a.m. January 19th, 2000 party over. But at any rate, Lemon 8. That's what he told me to go. It's No Jazz Show. If we blank out on the 18th at 12 o'clock, it's No Jazz Show. Thank you for liking, comment, subscribe, share. Hit that share button. Let everybody know. Thank you to all our new subscribers. Thank you to our new members on Facebook, on our fan page. We appreciate you. And aside from that, Tank, give you your usual salute.
Holla.
And then we'll holler. Enjoy that football. And remember, ladies, for all of your comfort and around the house wear, lingerie, comfy clothes, make sure you visit quickvisits.com. That's QUICVISITS.com. For all of your lounge wear, lingerie wear, sport wear, workout wear, athletic wear, make sure you go to quickvisits.com. They'll be there for you, and you'll love that I tell you. You just watched another episode of No Jazz. Follow us on YouTube at No Jazz Show. And make sure you hit us up on Twitter at No Jazz Show. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram at NOJ.A.S.S. Follow us on Facebook, on our Facebook page at No Jazz Show. All right? See you soon.